some kind of rate capability defined, and more or less a similar pattern. They would be defining a committed rate where you have reserved instances or sustained usage discounts. Basically, it's kind of long-term usage where you're defining that. It's going to be the thing. So find the best rate which you can. So that's one approach. In certain scenarios, you may be able to apply applications. Let's say you're trying to do ETL, extract, transform, load, or some kind of data pull, and you don't need the servers to be completely running always. It's not a user-facing application. It's a backend job which does the job in the nightly fashion and things. So in such scenarios, you can look for some kind of discounted instances. A lot of providers, Amazon, for example, provides something called as spot instances, which it's kind of leftover instances at very much discounted prices. Each of the providers has some kind of philosophy named term differently. So whenever possible, I give one example, you could look for such scenarios where you can apply these things. Storage plays an important role in part of this cost thing, because that's what continuously keeps growing and growing, versus the instances are certain instances, it's kind of a fixed cost, but storage is something which becomes a monster over a period of time. And that's what one has to be mindful about. Most of these providers have some kind of tiered approach where they have defined 3 to 4 different tiers, and obviously readily available right now is going to be the premium, and that's going to cost the most. If you're using something once in a year, you're going to look for this data, or this is only when audit shows up, or these reports are rarely used for the last 5 years data, or so and so forth. If you want to organize that kind of data in some kind of not so hard, and put it in some kind of cold storage kind of example, it's going to save you a lot of money. So thinking and planning that would be an important aspect and save cost saving as well. Now, it takes some time to really dig into the pricing of the vendor. Each vendor has different pricing policies, different approaches defined, and the more you all understand, or this person, this individual, this role looks into the vendor pricing, there is definitely going to be savings. There are scenarios where you can look at where you are keeping your server. It may be able to keep in certain nearby regions and still be able to save substantial discounts. So that's one example where you can look at that. Not always, but there could be scenarios where you can look for open source solution. You can still build and have the infrastructure provided by the cloud provider, but the applications and licensing and everything it promotes, look at for open source solutions. If a vendor is going to provide you a solution or equivalent, there's going to be licensing fees, or a proprietary solution is going to be there. So these are things to keep in mind, like how you can look at the rate part of it. The rate, you do not have many levers. It's more simpler to do it, and mostly done once, and you don't have to keep doing it, except for storage and few other things which you'll have to constantly keep looking. But it's like a one-time architectural design effort which will help you to do that. Elaborating about the storage part, it just goes again, it reiterates the point, like often what happens, the objects in buckets are created, and they're created in the most hot available tier, costing premier dollars to that, and evaluating that, putting in the right places is going to key and help you really keep it, whether in the right region, whether in the right tier. All of that is going to play a very crucial role. So in very quick, short period of time, what we have talked is the two aspects of it. One is how to control the usage part of it, and how to think about some of the levers and thought processes on the rate part of it. At the first principle, if you look at it, go back to the nuggets, I think it's an eye-opener to think optimization in this particular two category related things, and it can simplify their optimization efforts much better. So far what we have seen is the basic formula and how to look at cost into the two categories of usage or the rate. But it's easy said. I think it gives a great lens how to really look at optimization, actually simplifies optimization thinking in quite a bit. But it's an ongoing process. It doesn't end at one time you did